All right, and now on to the main topic that I wanted to talk about, and that is the Florida Project. What a movie. What a movie. What a movie. What a movie. Okay, so if you guys didn't know, the Florida Project is currently out on Netflix right now. You can go stream it. It is an A24 film production, and it stars William Dafoe, Brooklyn Prince, and a whole bunch of other amazing people. You guys should go definitely check this out, and here's why. The Florida Project is a really raw and authentic telling of this underrepresented community of people in America. It shows their hardships on a day-to-day basis. We follow a mother and daughter who are very poor and live at a motel in Kissimmee, Florida, and basically we follow them throughout a summer, and they just show us their daily lives. But the reason why this movie works so well is because of how raw and how real and how authentic this movie is. This movie is insane. This movie is like insanely engaging. It makes you want to watch it throughout the entire thing. There's no slow parts. Slow meaning boring. There's no boring parts at all. This movie is a character study of how people come together in a community in an underrepresented part of America, and it just shows how much they struggle on a day-to-day basis. And we see in the film, it follows a mother and daughter, like I said, who get into shenanigans all the time. The mother's always getting into her own shenanigans, and the kids are getting into their shenanigans. Now, the kids in the movie, the whole movie is told from the perspective of children in general, but mostly of one child. Her name's Mooney, played by Brooklyn Prince. Now, Mooney is this girl who's very bright and very she's very innocent, but she's very bright. So she doesn't really comprehend what's actually happening to her on a day-to-day basis, but she knows enough to care about it. So let's get into why the Florida Project works and what makes it so real. So Sean Baker has this masterful way of helming a movie and showing characters just doing day-to-day tasks, but in a strangely entertaining, engaging way. The movie relies on a whole bunch of factors to come together, and all of those factors did come together in this movie. There's a lot of criticism about a whole bunch of things about this movie, but those criticisms don't hold up if you just understand and open your mind to what this movie really is representing and what this movie really means. And so for people to complain about it or criticize it and then at the end say, maybe I just didn't get it. Yeah, you just didn't get it. You really just didn't get it. So here's why. Sean Baker has these actors and actresses, and he allowed them to go off script a lot. And what that caused them to do is be more real. And what another part about this movie and how it works is a lot of the extras and the locations and stuff are all real. They're all real people, and basically what they did was they went down to Florida and they actually shot on location, and they took these people who are in these areas and they just hung out with them and they studied them. They just learned about them. You know, they opened up their mind to how they live on a day-to-day basis, and by doing that, they were able to actually, portray them in a extremely accurate way, and that's why it's so heartbreaking, I guess, at the end, when you watch it all the way through and you get to the very end. Like, it's extremely it makes everyone extremely emotional, and it's because of Brooklyn Prince's performance. Her performance was extremely authentic and heartbreaking and engaging, and so on so many different levels too. When she breaks down at the end, it is absolutely unequivocal. Like, everyone was just so like enthralled in that scene. Like, you cannot look away, but you want to look away because it's so hard to sit through and watch, but you can't, because she just draws you into the story. You want to see what happens. You want to see, you get that climax at the end. You get the climactic ending, and it's good. It's a good ending, but it's definitely hard to watch. It's definitely sad and definitely emotional. But I recommend it to anyone and everyone that loves movies at all, to definitely sit down and watch. And here's like another reason why this movie works so well. The movie is told from the perspective of the children, and so even when you see it, even if an adult is in a scene, it is still told from the perspective of the child. The camera hangs on Mooney. Like when William Dafoe's character and the mom's character Haley, when they're in a scene together, they might be fighting in the background, and that might be what the scene is about. But the camera is just hanging and focused on Mooney, and you get to see her reactions, and you see how innocent she is, and you see how like ignorant, I guess is the word, she is to what's happening. But it's not her fault that she's that way. It's just she doesn't understand completely what's happening. She probably has some kind of idea about it, but she doesn't comprehend it completely because she's not old enough yet, right? And that's also the beauty of how this movie works. So throughout the entire summer of the story, you see the kids just wander the streets of Kissimmee, Florida. You just see them going to get ice cream. You see them crossing the street in a busy highway. You see them going to, walking to Orange World. You see them going into a field and running after helicopters. You see them like doing all these things, but there's no parents. There's no supervision. William Dafoe's character is more of a parent to these children than their actual parents, but it just shows and it showcases the innocence of children and how they view the world so well. And when you get into the movie and you really understand why it's working so well, and when you really think about why it's working so well, it's because of, like, even when it's so many subtle things. Like when William Dafoe's character is just walking and the camera's literally almost touching the ground, but it's angled up at his face, and you see him in the sky. Why do you think it's shot like that? Why do you think most of every single shot is on Mooney when she's in the frame? Why do you think that? Because it's showing it from her perspective. Even if somebody's talking, even if there's an adult talking or fighting or something on screen, it's in the background, or you only get to see half of what's happening because it's told from the perspective of the children. And that's why the movie works so well, because it shows you how innocent and how joyful it can be to be a child, and how they see the world, and how everything's so big and vast, and they have big dreams and big imagination. But at the end of the day, this world's very real and it's very small, and the world's very, 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 very small and cohesive, yet they think everything is just so big, and their imaginations make it look so extravagant. Like when they show the hotels or the motels, and the motels look like, they're bright, vibrant colors. That's because That's because the bright, vibrant colors, that's what they're seeing. That's what the kids are seeing. That's how they view those motels. You know, they don't view them as these poor people just living in this trash heap. No, they see it as this big, extravagant place. So they don't necessarily understand why things are happening, but they kind of start catching on, especially towards the end when everything just comes crashing. But that movie works so well. Though I only have one criticism of that movie. And my one criticism is that Sean Baker used an iPhone for the last actual shot of the last scene of the movie. He used an iPhone, and his excuse and okay, first of all, back it up. Sean Baker is actually had made an entire movie on an iPhone. And it looks really good because he's really good at, one, just directing in general, and two, he's really good at knowing how to manipulate the iPhone so it looks good, right? Now we get into the last shot of the movie and why it doesn't work for so many people. Okay, first of all, it's shot on an iPhone, okay? And the entire rest of the movie is actually shot on 35 millimeter film. So you can see the difference. You can see digital compared to film, and it's really jarring how it switches immediately from film to digital. Like there's no like cut, there's no fade in, there's nothing like that. It's just literally, it just cuts to the next scene, and the next scene is shot with an iPhone digitally, right? So it's kind of jarring to see that for some people. Now, I personally don't care. I don't care. I noticed the difference, but I didn't care. Like, it wasn't as jarring for me. That wasn't the part that was jarring for me. The things that bothered me about that scene was how shaky the camera was. You could literally see, like, even though Sean Baker wasn't in front of the camera, you can see him literally tripping over himself because it's just like the camera's almost falling out of his hands, like when he's filming the girls running, and all of that's fine. I mean, all of that, like that is why I didn't actually give this movie a perfect score. I was going to give it a 5 out of 5. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. And that's only because the shot was so shaky and all over the place. It looked like it was edited badly. It looked like it was poorly edited, like a high schooler did it for a school project almost, but the film actually is really good. It works well. The whole scene itself, it works well in the movie, and it makes sense in the movie, but it just doesn't work with like the shakiness. Like, that's what's jarring to me, like how shaky and how all over the place so the editing was and everything like that. So if they were to like clean that up before they released this movie, then it probably would have gotten a 5 out of 5 for me and most people. And I think that's really the issue with it. Now, there's a lot of criticism about how it switched from film to digital and how they were just running into how they were just running about. I'm not going to spoil the ending for you. There's a lot of criticism about that ending. I don't understand the criticism for the actual ending itself. The ending and even switching from film to digital, it makes sense. It makes sense per the story, but so everything's working, right? So like he had to shoot it on an iPhone because they were going into Disney, and Disney doesn't allow big camera crews like that without like a permit, basically. And he didn't want to get that, and that's fine. He's good at using iPhones, but he just missed the mark a little bit on this one. So the shot is like the concept of the shot is good, and the like the actual storyline is good, and the acting and everything is good, but what is not good was the editing and the actual execution of shooting that scene. Everything else was immaculate about this movie, especially everything that was shot in film was extremely like impeccable. It was impeccable. Like there was not a single frame in that movie that wasn't set up perfectly. There wasn't a scene in that movie that wasn't acted out perfectly. William Dafoe's character, I don't think I've ever seen him in a more authentic, real role and I've never seen him like really. I mean, I've seen him be amazing, but I've never seen him really sell a role as well as he did in the Florida Project. And honestly, kudos to him, and just kudos to the whole cast and crew. Everyone just did amazing. Brooklyn Prince is going to be a fucking star when she gets older. She's going to be a star. Mark my words, a complete and utter star. And yeah, that's my thoughts on the Florida Project. And hey everyone, thanks for like tuning in to this podcast and tuning in to my YouTube channel and tuning into my other podcasts and anything else I'm doing. I'm eternally grateful for all of you guys that are listening, and I appreciate all of the support. We're going to be launching a Patreon shortly once I can kind of get the details finalized out with that. So you guys can subscribe to the Patreon as well and get exclusive perks and videos. So just be on the lookout, but this is going to be, I can feel this being the start of something amazing. And I just wanted to extend my gratitude out to all of you guys. So thank you so much for listening and tuning in and always supporting me and supporting anything I do. And, you guys are amazing. You guys are the real reason that any of this is going on. So, I bid you guys a farewell. I hope you guys stay safe. I know the world's crazy right now, but just stay safe. And I'm gonna get sponsored by White Claw and Monster one day, and all of you guys will be drinking Monster for free with me. All right. So cheers. Peace out.